What's going on, guys? Welcome into another video. Today we are talking about the Ironclad and the Ironclad Assault. We got a Q&A. Also have the Ironclad's competitors here on the screen. We got the Liberator, the Ironclad Assault, M2 Caterpillar, Ironclad Base, and C2. And you know me, I like to come on here and do these size comparisons because it's fun. And I know a lot of people out there snuff the hopium. And so let me give you guys some hopium if I can, right? So right away, what we see with the Ironclad is just how wide it is compared to the Caterpillar. I mean, we can probably fit maybe 2.5 Caterpillars if we took this wing off, right? We could probably fit 2 Caterpillars if I line this up. Actually, let me grab another Caterpillar. We can probably get 2 Caterpillars in the size if I line this up with the command module. Yeah, so it's about the width of 2 Caterpillars. You know, if we see like the 6 engines there, you know, with the Caterpillar, you know, we got almost as many engines. So yeah, we can see here, you know, that this is a thick girl. You know what I'm saying? We stopped calling it the Caterpillar, we start calling the thicker pillar. That's what I'm gonna call it, cause she thick. You know what I'm saying? And you know, your girl like the girth. All right, ain't about the length, about how wide it is. All right, so we see how girthy she is. We see how wide she is, and we see even compared to the Liberator, it's damn near the same size. It's, you know, the Liberator's not much bigger, so it's a very good sized ship. And I think anyone who is doing org operations will find that the Ironclad is going to be a great addition. I tend to think that the Assault will be probably a little bit better, given that it has a repair bay and, you know, it's a little bit more versatile than the standard variant. All right, so we have the Ironclad Q&A here up on the screen, and we're just gonna go through this. Okay, what ships are the main competitors of the Ironclad and Ironclad Assault? For example, how does it compare with the Crusader Hercules, as it seems to be better in every aspect? Let's find out. The Anvil Liberator, the Crusader Hercules are the Ironclad's closest competitors. The Liberator is a dedicated vehicle transporter, so naturally it excels at that, although its cargo remains relatively exposed. The C2 and M2 are the closest competitors on paper, providing enclosed cargo capacity and the option for multiple turrets. However, the Ironclad Assault beats the latter, while the base Ironclad beats the former in cargo capacity. So going back here, you can already see that this is a much bigger ship than, you know, the M2 and the C2, and you're going to be able to put obviously more cargo in it because it has more space. But the main point of contention that I want to add to you guys here is that the M2 and the C2 fly like shit right now in this current build of, you know, of the flight model. So if nothing changes, and take this with an asterisk and a grain of salt, if nothing changes, if the C2 and the M2 can continue to fly like shit, just get you one of these, because like you can fly like shit and be obviously better protected than these other 2 ships. So a little bit of hopium there for you guys. Let's go on to the next question. Can the Ironclad be used as a mini carrier? What is the biggest ship that could fit through the retractable roof? Let's find out. It can, however, the cargo bay is designed for cargo metrics, so it does not conform to standard cargo hangar dimensions, with the current maximum dimensions being 40 by 21 by 7.5 meters. Bear in mind the roof does not retract over the full volume, limiting the maximum length. Of course, this may change during production. So they're talking about what ships do you think can fit inside here? I figure any snub fighter and maybe up to a medium fighter. So anything from your Merlins all the way up to maybe a couple of Hornets, right? But there's something to keep in mind. And it's on, I think I saw it on here on this picture. If we're going to be putting ships inside of the cargo bay, it looks like these tractor beam things, these tractor beam turrets looks like they can move on a rail right here. So if you're putting ships inside, just make sure you have these rails out of the way. Now this is a pre-production design right here, but just make sure that these rails are not in the way, because obviously you're going to have a bad day if you don't. Will the Ironclad Assault have a retractable roof like the base version? Yes, the retracting roof is a shared element between the two versions. However, the tractor beam is removed, so utility is significantly compromised in the Assault version. So it seems like with the Assault version, you're not going to have the issue with these tractor beams, possibly making it the better option for vehicle transport. That being said, you're probably going to need to bring you one of these bad boys if you're moving a whole lot of cargo. Where is it? One of these bad boys. MPUV tractor. And you see how small it is in comparison. So probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have one of these on board your Ironclad Assault. Right? So I'm just gonna put that there with it. And it looks like it'll fit nicely inside of this ship. You can probably tuck it away in a corner or something. Although, I mean, at least right now there are no big updates to tractor beams in the terms of like how they actually operate. Meaning that even with a small tractor beam, you can lift a 32 SCU box. If that somehow changes, then you probably might want to have these. You know, again, that's the hopium here. You know, we put the line of the hopium and the copium on the desk and we snort it up, and we can only think about what the future could potentially be. I don't really like to do that, but I mean, that's really the only way to cover this game sometimes. It's just thinking about the future and what if, right? Will there be VTOL thrusters? Will either version have strong VTOL thrusters to assist in atmospheric flight? Both versions have identical thruster layouts, including integrated VTOL thrusters underneath. I don't think it's gonna help the thing fly any better. So if you're expecting this big old ship right here to fly like a I don't know, like how the A2 and C2 used to, don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. Will there be an armory in the Assault? The armory isn't shown in the Assault cutaway, but during production we'll be looking at the best place for one. Likely the front central area where the secure storage is on the base Ironclad. The Ironclad Assault has a repair bay as an installed feature. This is going to be just a repair for more than just vehicles. For example, could it repair ship components as well? Yes, repair facilities are not restricted by type, but more by volume and resources. We will be discussing repair and crafting and more in detail in the future, as it's a topic more expansive than just this Q&A. All right. So we're gonna have to wait for that. How will the self-destruction feature work on the Ironclad? Can I initiate the self-destruction in the command module and attach to fly away, or will the command module also be in self-destruction mode? Okay. There are two independent self-destruction systems, one in the command module and one on the main hull. Setting it off in the command module will self-destruct both if attached, while the main hull of the base ship can be triggered from the control room. I don't know why you would want to self-destruct. Seems like, you know. I'll talk about piracy here in just a little bit. Is the command module shared between the Ironclad and the Caterpillar? The command module is compatible between the Ironclad and the Caterpillar. However, the Ironclad's module has a slight redesign of the original Caterpillar, but retains a lot of the features. And we can kind of see that here, right? Let me slide over this way. We can kind of see the similarities in the command module between the Ironclad and the Caterpillar. We can see a lot of the similarities are there, but it seems like there is, like they said, like a slight redesign. It'll probably have some different features, and I pretty much would expect whatever they design on this one to come to the caterpillar as well. It also looks like this command module is actually a little bit bigger than the caterpillars. So could it be one of those things where they potentially sell, the command module separate from the ship? I doubt it in the future, but you know, it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with buying things with money and modularity in the future. I'm gonna pay a lot of attention to that. If you detach the command module, does the Ironclad become a flying brick, or can you steer the ship, or can you still steer the ship from the ship itself? The Ironclad is exclusively flown from the command module. With it detached, the main hull can no longer fly independently. However, it retains power cooling and other functionality like and tractor beam control and self-defense. So does it have shield still? How will insurance handle detachment of the command module and loss of the main ship? We are currently working on how insurance will handle how we are currently working on how insurance will work with the Ironclad. We will talk more about this subject closer to the flyable release. Will the command module have a quantum drive? Yes, there is a quantum drive aboard the command module to facilitate independent quantum travel. Now, here's where I want to talk about piracy a little bit, right? So let's just assume, right? Let's just assume really quick that you are being pirated, right? And you want to detach your command module away. Do you honestly believe that this command module, because you're probably not going to have any weapons, right, on this command module, at least from what I can tell. So essentially, with this command module, you're going to be defenseless. And if you're being pirated and you're trying to get away, I don't believe that pirates will just let you just escape, right? It's a cool idea. Maybe it'll work in PvE scenarios, but in a PvP scenario, you're pretty much not getting away in this command module. Unless they make it like ridiculously fast, right? Unless they make it like so fast that you detach and and we don't even know how fast the detach process will be. I don't even think they put that in this Q&A, but it's going to be something that you probably want to know, like even before you buy the ship. Like, how fast can I attach and detach from the command module? Like in an emergency, if I need to get away, what is my likelihood of survival? Probably slim to none if you have really good pirates. And I run around with some pretty good pirate crews, and let me tell you, you're probably not gonna get away if they know what they're doing. So it's a cool feature. I think it's more of a marketing / gimmick than it is something that's actually useful in terms of how the game actually functions. But if it's something that will get people to buy the ship, then they have succeeded in that. Is the ship's heavy armor actually heavy? How's it represented in game, as armor is not a thing yet in the mechanics? Relative to other ships its size, it's heavily armored, and that implementation can be appropriate to the mechanics in place at the time of the launch. So, ships of its size, there really is no ship of its size currently in the game. The only ship that's comparable in size, I think, is maybe the Liberator. I mean, you could probably say maybe let me try to get some bigger ships on the screen here. I'm thinking maybe the Carrack is probably big. It's about the size of the Carrack. So if we're gonna go based off ships its size that are currently in the game, roughly the Carrack is about the same size as the Ironclad. Let me see. Let me look at the Hammerhead. Hammerhead's about the same size. Okay, Hammerhead's about the same size. What are some other big ones? I'd say the 890, but I mean, I think the 890 is like way bigger. Yeah, the 890 is over 200 meters. So there are only really two ships that I can think of that are actually in the game that are this. Oh, the Reclaimer. Reclaimer. No, the Reclaimer is much bigger. Well, actually, it's not that much bigger. The Reclaimer. I'm just gonna say the Reclaimer is bigger because it is. Let me scoot this over here. So shipset size. So in terms of armor, is it going to be more armored than a Hammerhead? Is it going to be more armored than a Carrack? Is it going to be more armored than a Reclaimer? We'll have to wait and see, but this to me says that they haven't worked out how armor is going to work yet. So they're just going to pretty much hope that we forget and are just happy with whatever they choose for the future of the game. Is the interior turret a tractor beam or a self-defense turret? The interior turret at the rear of the cargo bay is a defense turret. Now, can you switch this out for a laser weapon? Is this ballistic or laser? Can it be switched out? These are things that we need to know. Okay. Does the assault have tractor beams? They are listed on the base but not the assault. No, the assault trades all of its tractor beams for more firepower. If you still wish to have a tractor beam around or on board the assault, you should bring an FPS tractor beam or a ship capable tractor beam. You know what I would like to see, honestly? This is like a little segue. They should have, instead of these vehicles that fly with tractor beams, why not just create like an Ursa-like vehicle that has a tractor beam on it? Because like sometimes like trying to fly and use a tractor beam is kind of like weird, you know? But if you had like a ground vehicle, something like I don't know, maybe like a mule. All right, so just imagine you had something this size, but instead of this useless ass cargo box moving thing that you just stick a tractor beam on it, and then you can just move vehicles around, you can move boxes around with this little vehicle. Like, what I think that would be better and more functional than what the mule is now. You know, this thing of like manually picking up boxes and moving them back and forth one by one is incredibly inefficient. So I think the better option is just to scrap this entire thing entirely, stick a tractor beam on top, and give it a type of turret to where you can have 360-degree coverage, and you can just use that to move boxes back and forth. And you know, this would also fit very nicely on the ship because it's smaller than this, right? And you can tuck this nicely away in the corner, and you could put this on both ships, really, you know. And yeah, I think that would be a much better option. But you know, that's me on the desk with my line of hopium and copium, snorting it up. It's the last question. How will gravity in the cargo bay be handled? Will this fatter pillar, I'm gonna call it the thicker pillar because she is thick, have an air shield over the top like the cargo has in the front? For example, if someone's EVA nearing the top of the ship to load cargo, it seems like a great way to fall inside the ship and get a tier 2 broken leg injury. Sounds like a direct design feature. This sounds like this came directly from the marketing team. Actually, this entire Q&A probably came from the marketing team, to be honest. There is no air shield at the top of the cargo bay. Once open, it vents to the void of space, and care must be taken in scenarios listed. So you can fall on this ship and you know, break your legs. All right, so there's that. But yeah, what do you guys think about this Q&A? I'm not convinced that CIG has figured out armor just yet. I think that we need a ground vehicle that has a tractor beam on it. I think that'd be a fantastic idea, especially something like the Ironclad Assault. That way you can still have the functionality. It's not big. You can stick it in the corner off your cargo grid and it'll be great. I think in terms of size, you know, it's comparable to that of the, you know, the Liberator, the Carrack, and the Hammerhead. It's better than the Hercules offerings if you guys are into the cargo running. If you guys are into doing more org operations for piracy, I think, you know, the Ironclad Assault could be a potential great option. I think even the regular one could be a great option because you'll have the ability to do the tractor beams in space without having to bring a secondary vehicle. But let me know what you think about this ship down below in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.